My final year as a game dev student, ready to enter the industry, which is blossoming with job opportunities and happiness are all around. Yeah, all the blood, sweat, and tears has led up to this, our final big game project. Nothing could possibly go wrong. I mean, you might as well be invincible when you're aura farming as a solo dev, right?
The jiggling was a little scary, but yeah.
Especially when we have no ideas. The game is due in 7 months, and we are showcasing it in person in April at the end of those 7 months. This should be fun. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we will be going through the triumphs and defeats, the epic highs and lows of making a thesis game project. A solo thesis game project. Yes, I made every element of my game myself. Thank you. Thank you. From models to music to code, everything was made by me. Could this be part of the reason why my game completely flopped and did not turn out at all how I imagined it? Probably not. But don't worry, this is not just a story time of how I'm bad at game development. I will be giving you 3 key takeaways of what I learned from my failures and what you can avoid with your own project. I mean, what good is a flop Tina if she does not flop help the masses? Without further ado, welcome to your first day of Dungeon High School. That's my game name. That's my game name. Now, my school's final year functioned a little bit differently to the typical thesis game school year. Overall, how the program went was you spent your first year doing general drawing because we're technically an animation program, and then after that, you pick your stream. I went into the game dev stream, and year 2 is learning the fundamentals. Year 3 is the thesis, which is what we are in right now. Typically for a thesis year, both semesters are completely dedicated to making the final game project. This way, the students can completely dedicate their time to making the best portfolio pieces possible. You know, the late nights, the camaraderie in the labs. And this was absolutely the case for us. Not. No it wasn't. While all the other streams of our program had their last year completely dedicated to their thesis, for some reason, semester 1 of our final year of game dev was regular assignments. Full assignments too. I had to rig a whole Cat 320E excavator, and yes, I still remember its name. That's how traumatized I am. Please don't come for me, Bob the Builder. So imagine you're me trying to come up with a banger game idea, but you're basically a survey corps running through a horde of titans trying to find your horse, aka the idea. Not to mention, in regard to the other streams, we actually had one class with them that was not a part of game dev. It was for everyone, and it was a pitching class where everyone would pitch their ideas to each other for feedback. Imagine you're in this class that I'm talking about. In every other class, you're getting pitched banger, next Sailor Moon, banger, race car yaoi. Animation school is a wonderful place, but you're in the gaming stream and working solo, and you feel like you still are not coming up with anything. Now keep in mind, guys, this was a direct result of me not planning my game over the summer when I knew that come semester 1, we would have to do regular assignments. I just want to be clear that I'm not blaming my professors for this because I was aware that this was the structure that our program was going to be. So not only am I in the survey corps running away from a horde of titans trying to find my horse, but there's also 10 Levi Ackermans around me racking up their kills. But all these pitches started to give me an idea. I decided that self-imposed, I was going to pitch my game in this class. And through sheer grit and determination, I came up with the initial idea for Dungeon High School. The first version, at least, I think. It was going to be a 3D mixed media dungeon with puzzles and combat. Wow, what a fantastic idea. No one's ever done this before. Not a single soul. Now, I say I think because I was looking through my old Canva presentations for this video, and even I'm confused. I mean, the mixed media art style was cool. I mean, look at all these mock-ups I made. Very gumball, very demure, very cute. But the game was also at one point 2D turn-based combat inspired by like those old like Mario and Luigi games. And then I was also planning to use Unreal Engine. Hi, editing Ella here. So correction, I think at some point I wanted to do the game 3D but with like 2D enemies and still like turn-based combat. So I actually found a teaser that I made in Unreal kind of showing what I wanted to do, so enjoy as a brief interlude. Okay, back to the video. Even though I'd been a Godot dev for several years at this point. Keep in mind, guys, this is over the course of like 3 months. That's like a third of my production time. And honestly, reading all these slides, I have no idea what my plan was even after I pitched the game. I didn't even know if I did at the time. I literally can't even tell you which version I pitched. I might have even pitched 2. So yeah, I found my horse, but the Beast Titan got to it, bro. That's all I'm gonna say about that. If you've ever jumped into a game project with no plan, then you know what I'm talking about. Because combat and puzzles are not game mechanics, they're categories. And yeah, not to mention how I was still waffling on medium, like 2D or 3D, and the game engine that I was going to use up until December. Side note, this is because I thought no one would hire me if I was gonna use Godot, so I was gonna use Unreal. Side note, no one's hiring anyways. All while still working on my other assignments so I didn't fail. So here's the takeaway and what I wish I had done. I should have been more aggressive about planning the game mechanics from the beginning, and ideally from summertime, because being so busy with my Cat 320E, I was going into semester 2 with what I thought was a plan, but what was really just vague brainstorming. So let's get into our next issue, and that was a direct result of no planning. Now, usually when a game dev talks about scope, they're talking about the game becoming too big. Like those blurbs in the Mario and Luigi game. That was a callback to earlier in the video. Were you paying attention? Were you paying it too much to build, too much in general? But I actually feel like I had a different problem, and that was the scope didn't really exist for my game. And it was time to start making the thing. How do you make a thing when you don't know what the thing even is? So what did I do? Random stuff. I couldn't even tell you. Girl, I literally don't know. I made an object picking up mechanic, followed a random shader tutorial for this pixel shader, made a grappling hook, which my professor noted that every student makes a grappling hook when they don't know what mechanic to put. Why did bro have to call me out like that? And I started making random test assets that I never ended up using. Why? Girl, I gotta be honest, I literally just did not know what to do. Going back to what my slides look like, I had this vague world in my head of Dungeon High School. A rivalry maybe between the player and the main villain who was also his best friend. Low-key, I might have been inspired by that NASCAR yaoi I was talking about. And there was also the weird mashup of the typical dungeon plus a modern high school. But even with some concept art from my friend, I had no idea how to put these together. I completely waffled for the first 2 months of semester 2, my last semester, to make this project. Not only that, but do you remember that showcase I mentioned earlier? We were making our final project for a grade, but also to showcase it in person at Level Up Student Showcase, where not only your game would be played by the community at large, but also industry professionals who were ranking your game on various categories. And the pressure of this was starting to get to me. The summer before school, I remember doing one thing, and that was visualizing. I'm gonna get cornball for a sec, okay? Everyone, girder your loins?
All right, everyone, gird your loins.
I had an image in my head of me winning an award at Level Up, and you would bet I felt some emotional attachment to this goal. And you would think that I would have spent the summer doing a lot more than I did, but I didn't. I tried to, but all I had come September was 2 slides based on this old game idea I had that was also similarly vague and had no game mechanic behind it. Same as Dungeon High School, all I had was some vague concept art. Fast forward to now, still 2 months before this showcase was about to come up, and I was barely making any of my jumbled ideas come to fruition. And despite started streaming and patching a bit of a level together with that object throwing mechanic I had mentioned earlier, internally, I was completely self-sabotaging. I was thinking, why even try? There's no point that you're gonna win anything anyways. Literally the most doomer mindset you can possibly think of. My mindset was completely detrimental to my goals. I was being so toxic. And I spent my last remaining time trying to protect myself from the pain of failing and accepting it preemptively. So how did my game even turn out in the end? Well, honestly, it's still the biggest project I've ever made. It's a full weird level where the main mechanic is picking up and throwing objects, and you also have a sword for some reason. All the art was done by me, like I said, including the music and sound effects, and it does still look cool, I guess, at least. I even made a speedrun timer because I wanted to give the players more incentive, since the game on its own is kind of nothing burger. Honestly, bros, in hindsight, I could have done a lot better. If I had spent the summer planning properly, creating a scope and sticking to it throughout my semesters, and had a better mindset overall, I think I could have made something really cool. But hindsight's 2020, I guess. So what's next after this flop for me? Well, it's been a few months. After school ended in April, I kind of didn't know what to do, but I've decided I'm going to keep pushing. I'm gonna learn more Blender because school is canceling my Maya license, and I'm gonna make a new project and finally start posting on here, YouTube, because this is my favorite medium, fun fact. Oh, by the way, literally probably 1% of you are subscribed because this is my first long video. So if you like my vibe and game dev potentially, please subscribe and join the Midi Nation, including the Discord, which is linked below. Thanks for watching. See you soon.